Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the In Between the Stitches podcast. I am your host, Brady Wilson, with my co-host, Chase Olswanger.
How's it going?
Well, it's going about the same. I don't know if I assume it's a universal thing for every college. Spring break coming up, so hopefully everybody stays safe but has a good time. I think most of us are going home, hanging out with our families. In the world of sports, there's been a lot happening in football, baseball, football. I mean, not football, but basketball, it's going. So's hockey. Trade deadline for the NHL is tomorrow. The Stars have reportedly had interest in Mikko Rantanen. I'm really curious what a deal for him would look like because what players are you going to have to trade to get him? Because he is a pending free agent, I believe. So you're not going to have him for multiple years, so he shouldn't cost like a ton. The problem is that you got Granlund and Ceci, and they're both rentals, and they both cost a first-round pick.
Yeah.
So, and Bischel's played well. You don't want to... If you're going to trade anybody, I guess Bork would be the most logical, but I don't like that. I don't want to trade Bork. I would rather keep him. So, we'll see what... And God, I mean, they would probably want Thomas Harley, potentially, too, and I do not want to trade Thomas Harley. So... There's just a lot the Stars, if they want to... They get Rantanen, they're the best team in probably hockey right now. I mean that is... It's just...
I trust Jim Nill, whatever he decides to do.
Yeah.
I mean...
The problem is that it's one of those... That is a move that, like... Because Nill is usually like to add a little bit on the margins. I don't want to say Chris Tanev was a margin add, but you didn't give up a lot to get him. Right? You didn't give up a ton to get Granlund and Ceci. Nill likes to make those smaller, more medium-sized moves that help push the team, not maybe put them over the top. Rantanen puts you over the top. The problem with a put you over the top move is if it doesn't work, okay, now you've got to regroup.
Yeah.
And, maybe Rantanen would want to stay, but I don't know how you'd figure that out with the cap. So...
And listen, I'm fine if Nill does nothing. I mean, if we just kind of roll with this team that we have right now, I'm cool.
I mean, he did do something. Just he did it. He did the Aroldis Chapman thing. He did it a month before he needed to.
No, I'm talking about going right now. Like off of what he already did with CC and Granlund. I'm talking about right now with this current team. If he left the team the way it is right now, I'm fine with that.
I am too. Currently they are 40-19-2. Who did they beat last?
It was the overtime winner versus the Devils. Harley game winner.
No, it wasn't overtime. That was
or not overtime.
5 seconds left.
5 seconds
Harley
left.
buries it. It was a great game.
Yeah.
So they have been rolling. Unfortunately, so has Winnipeg, as they're still 6 points ahead of them.
Yeah.
Right now, the playoffs, because there's only about 20 games left, roughly, for every team. The Western Conference is Winnipeg, Dallas, the Western Conference. The Central Division is Winnipeg, Dallas, and Minnesota. The Pacific Division is Vegas, Edmonton, and the Kings. And then the wild card right now is Colorado and Calgary, with Vancouver actually tied with Calgary in points. St. Louis is a point behind, and Utah is about 4 points behind. So, and hey, look at the Ducks. The Ducks are only about 6 points behind.
Yeah, no.
So look at that.
Bright future for them.
And then you've got the Eastern Conference. In the Atlantic Division, it's Florida, Toronto, Tampa Bay. In the Metropolitan Division, it's Washington, Carolina, and New Jersey. And then the wild card...
Tough blow for New Jersey, though.
Yeah.
Just lost their star, Jack Hughes, for the season. So, for all the hope that they had this season, kind of throw that away.
Hopefully they don't falter. But they've got... And then the wild card, they've got Columbus and Ottawa, with the Rangers tied with Ottawa. Detroit is only a point behind them. Montreal's 2 points behind, Boston's 3 behind, and the Islanders, who are making a very late push here, are 4 behind. So we'll see what, how this all shakes out as we move forward. We don't know if we're going to do an episode next week, so this may be a 2-week, a 2-week hiatus, a week hiatus for us. And so things may drastically change, which is why I wanted to update everybody on what it looks like now, what it might look like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But the Stars have been playing well. We'll see what they add at the deadline. And now we get to move to the team that makes us all want to go jump off a bridge. That's a joke. I'd say that for legal purposes. I'm still using the "Somebody Kill Me" song for the Mavs. In fact, no. I want like that 1,000-yard stare, like the soldier. Like that's kind of what I feel like. I feel a shell shock. Okay, from the Mavs because, you've heard of baseball, of course, the curse of the Bambino. You've heard of the curse of the Billy Goat with the Cubs. There's a bunch of other curses that have happened in other sports, but now I think there's going to be a new curse, and it's the curse of Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Because I don't think in the history of basketball, except maybe the post-Jordan years for the Bulls, maybe this was that bad, or that was this bad. The difference between the two is they had back-to-back, they had 2 3-peats to get them through it and reminding themselves of what it used to be.
Right.
We don't have that. Barely. We have a finals appearance and a Western Conference Finals appearance with Luka to pride ourselves on. But it's worse because he got it. It sucks.
Yeah. I mean, every week it's just, you just get more and more surprised, shocked, devastated, depressed, whatever it is. Every negative word that comes to mind is what occurs every week.
Yeah.
But looking into the past week with the Mavs, hate to say I'm surprised, but Kyrie tore ACL, out for the year, most likely out for a lot of next year. I mean, what do you expect? He's played the most minutes in the last month in the whole NBA. Who you expect a 32-year-old just to, be able to play 40 minutes a night? Now, this was also a freak injury, that just, would happen to anybody the way that they landed. But I mean,
the optics look bad.
They drove him to the ground because you trade for an injury-prone player who, when he's on the floor, is unbelievable.
Gets injured.
But when you have to rely and put so much, so much effort, Kyrie has to put in so much effort and so much work that he just got overworked. And unfortunately, obviously we don't want to see anybody get hurt for any team, especially our team, and especially an injury like this because, it's not Achilles. So it's not like, ACL's bad, but it's not Achilles because we've seen Achilles
in careers. Essentially in a career. Maybe
most recently with Kobe. And
hey, Durant tore his.
Did Durant tear his Achilles or was it ACL?
Yeah, remember he tore his Achilles.
It was in the finals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Durant's been fine.
Durant.
Yeah, he came back from that. But it's you just hope Kyrie can come back and be better. And it's gonna be a long recovery process. But, there's no upside going forward with the Mavs. And
I'm sorry, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
And I can see it in your eyes. I remember, right before the season started, you looked about as excited as I've ever seen a sports fan.
And as everyone should have been.
Because, not saying I wasn't excited, but, I could see it. You were just like, I can't wait. Because this could be it. We have an actual chance to win a championship here. And I've never seen you look so defeated as a sports fan now as we sit here. I don't want to say I wish you did a face cam, but I'm trying to describe it. It's no offense. But
no, it's fine.
That's what I think sucks. This is what hurts for me. And if people that know me, they know this, that you don't know, one of my obsessions within my obsession for sports is team building. I would love to be a coach only for football. I wouldn't actually want to be a coach for baseball. I'd rather be a GM. But I'd rather be a GM or a scout anyway. In anything, I'd rather be a GM rather than a scout because I think team building is very interesting. I'm always fascinated by how teams build their roster and they get the right guys and they build their coaching staff. Because I include building a coaching staff in that, right? I've always been fascinated by how teams do it, how they put the puzzle together, right? Now, it probably comes from I love watching documentaries and how they would describe it being done made it sound so cool, especially when I was a kid. So I think that's probably where it comes from. And I love playing video games where I build the team. And, I never always sign the star players. I try to find the players I liked and make a championship out of it. You look at the other teams. At least the Cowboys have superstars in place, and they just need the supporting cast. Sounds familiar for the Mavs. The Rangers have the superstar, potential superstar, I'm going to say Langford, and then the stars and supporting cast, all there ready to, and DeGrom's a superstar, ready to go. the Stars have everything,
Right.
and the Mavs had
Everything.
everything. You had 2 superstar players. You had a bunch of supporting cast. You had an aging star in Clay. You had an up-and-coming star in Lively. You had 2 guys that you found that nobody thought was any good anymore, PJ and Gafford. You signed Najee Marshall. You had this. If there's anyone I'm forgetting, let me know. But
Well, they made Grimes.
you found Grimes kind of. I don't want to out the scrap heap, but you found him, and people were very out on him, and he came out of nowhere. Didn't he drop 40 the other night?
Mm-hmm. The Grimes deal.
What is Caleb Martin dropped in a Mavericks uniform? Remind me, Chase.
Same as me.
This is the thing.
I'm not as mad as the Grimes deal though, because listen, this is the reason why they traded him, because he was going to ask for a lot of money in the offseason, and they weren't going to pay him. This was a 1-year thing where, like, okay, look, we're bringing you in because you're on a good deal and we think we can win now. So we're going to bring you in. And that's why they didn't sign him immediately. They didn't extend him because of this. But so, like, he was going to leave most likely anyway after this season. So I'm not mad at it. But yeah, it is just kind of hilarious that he's just, you know.
But do you know, Chase, do you know what kind of teams do that when they figure out that a player that's really good for them is going to leave them? They trade. That's what bad teams do. We did it when we were supposedly trying to compete. That's what makes me go, I'm not going to say conspiracy theory. That's what makes me think that, okay, maybe is there something more happening here? Because they traded a player that if you were competing for a championship, Quentin Grimes is a guy that you need to have on your roster. Even if you're going to lose him for nothing, that sucks. You move on. But guess what? They didn't do that. They traded him. Not long after they traded Luka, too. Like, what, a day?
A couple days after, yeah.
So, after trading for AD, did they come off their high and realize that, we screwed up? We shouldn't have done that. Don't get drunk, kids. You know? I don't understand. There's no cohesion.
None of this makes sense, and none of this will ever make sense.
Well, maybe we'll get Cooper Flag now.
You know, that's the only thing that I can say is that, you know, the Mavs are obviously, they're not, you know, they got, what are they now, 32 and 31? That's 63. They got 19 games left. I mean, they're losing at least 15.
By the way, I hope you know that if we get Cooper Flag without, like, the number 1 odds, which we're not going to have, but without the number 1 odds, people are going to, that conspiracy theory is going to be fueled.
Yeah.
If we end up with the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah. And if we get the number 1 overall pick, of course I'll be upset that, you know, we shouldn't have never been in this position anyway. But it make me feel a little bit better because, listen, we have a 19-year-old who's got all the intangibles to be a superstar. I mean, I don't know if you ever watched any Duke games this season, but
no.
My God,
when they get to the tournament, they're going to the tournament, right? I assume it's Duke.
They're number 2. They're number 2 in the country. Yeah.
I'm confirming because you never know. Yeah.
I mean, Flag is just an absolute stud, and he's good at everything.
Here's the problem.
And this is a player that could be a generational talent.
You had a stud, who was good at everything.
Yeah,
who loved the city.
Well, no,
who had bought a house here.
I will say the defense needed to be improved.
Who had that Mamba mentality, and had that, you know, those intangibles. So I guess I'll look forward to Cooper Flag being here in 6 years.
If we somehow got the number 1 pick, I mean.
It doesn't make up for it.
It doesn't make up for it, no. But, like, I'm happy.
I'm not.
I'll be looking forward to Kyrie, Flag, and AD.
That's the problem is that I honestly don't know. I'm kind of in the boat where I don't know if I could ever really. I will always love my teams. I can't ever change allegiances. I can't. This comes from my dad, who taught me you love your teams, win, lose, or draw, and you don't don't
of course,
deviate.
I'm always going to support the Mavs. But
however,
right now,
I'm not watching the Mavs right now, and I don't want to watch the Mavs right now.
Oh no, you don't want to watch the Mavs.
And I hope that they win a championship. The problem is that I don't want Nico to win a championship. So until he is gone, I will probably not watch a Mavs game because I just will not believe we have any hope because he's in charge. I don't trust him. Fans need to be able to trust that their team has a direction. Whether that direction is we're tanking to get better, or we're already on the bottom, we're going to get better, or we're up top and we're going to stay better. Fans need to be able to trust their GMs that they have a plan, they know what they're doing. and I trust 2 of them in DFW.
Mm-hmm.
At least one of the others has people in the building that have a vision. Clearly, the coaching staff and the personnel department are very in tune.
Look, I don't trust Jerry to make a move to make us better.
I trust McClay to draft players.
I do trust Jerry when it comes to keeping us
afloat,
informed, and
afloat,
and keeping us afloat, and keeping us
not moving forward, but we're just bobbing up and down,
keeping us with a little bit of optimism, because that's the thing with Jerry. He loves his guys, and sometimes that's a problem. You know, we can go back and talk about the contract for Dak. Listen, it's a problem.
But we will get there.
No. I'm talking
when
about
I feel like Mr. Incredible right now.
No, I'm not talking.
We get there when we get there.
Great scene. No, I'm not talking about the restructure. I'm talking about at the time. You know, when he got a $60 million contract with the 200 whatever guaranteed.
That is not going to actually count $60 million against the cap.
At the time, listen, we loved Dak. We wanted Dak, but look, it was a bad contract, and we all know that. But the thing with Jerry is that he will keep your guys. And look, I mean, I love Dak, and I want Dak to be our quarterback.
I would rather have Dak on a bad contract than play the spin the wheel for a quarterback game.
Totally agree. But at the end of the day, dude, it's a lot of money, and he's not worth the highest paid money in the league. He's not.
But after this offseason, when somebody or 2 people get extended, he won't be the highest paid.
Right. But
then after next season, he won't be the highest paid. He's the highest paid for a little while.
But the thing with Jerry is that you build relationships with these guys for the years that they're here, and he keeps them.
Not all of them,
but
Dorrance, Fowler, he left.
Right,
I mean, a bunch of guys.
Those aren't guys that people fall in love with.
Cooper, they would have traded him.
Like Jerry would never have traded Luka. I mean, Cuban obviously would never have. I mean, it's all a mess.
No one in their right mind would trade Luka. I don't know if we talked about this last week. No, we didn't, because it was at the Combine.
There's a new report that I just got. The Lakers, Mavericks, Spurs, and Heat are expected to pursue Kevin Durant in the offseason.
Oh God, just please, just end it. End it, please.
Durant in LA, that would not work.
Who, Katie in LA?
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
No, that'd be awful.
That would not work. There's four ball dominant players: LeBron, Luka, Reeves, and Durant. That would not work.
They need to.
They'd be good, but it wouldn't.
Yeah, because they'd be probably scoring 100. They would never miss a shot.
Yeah,
they'd be scoring 150 a game, but they were giving up 160. Because Durant, unfortunately, really can't move anymore because the Achilles. He's not a very good defender anymore.
He's still not bad. He's so long. He's so easy. I mean, it's. But anyway, going back to end off the tangent, it's very easy now to root for the Lakers now because the Mavs have no positive future.
The thing is, I can't root for any other team.
It's not like you're rooting for the Lakers. You root for Luka.
I'll root for Luka to score 40 and the Lakers lose.
Sure, but the Mavs have they're not going to make the playoffs. So
I mean, there's a good chance, Chase. I don't watch the finals. The only reason I would watch is because we have a podcast we got to do, and I got to be informed. That's the only reason. Now, that's also why I hired you. I hired someone. It's also why I brought you along.
Yeah, making a lot of money over here.
We're making tons of $0. But I brought you along for basketball, so I may just say, and Chase, take it away, because I didn't watch.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's basketball.
Yeah, it's not going to get any easier.
Yay.
You just pray and hope that this was all a plan by Nico to have Luka come back next year in free agency, and we have Luka, Kyrie, and AD on the team. But that won't happen.
I doubt it. No. Can we fire the owner? Can we fire Dumont?
Yeah. Everybody needs to go. And
did they never go to a PR class at all?
No, they didn't go to anything. They don't know what basketball is.
Okay. Well, so we're going to end on that note.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get to a team that everyone... See, I like the structure now. Now the structure... See, we planned this when we were planning the structure of our episodes. We planned for Luka to be traded. So that way we could start off with a high with the Stars, go down to the depths of hell with the Mavericks, and then rise back up with the Rangers, and then go to, the very top of hell with the Cowboys. So it's we're going up and down here. But the Rangers... I don't even know what our record is in spring training. It doesn't matter. Rangers, again, there's not much happening right now because it's spring training. There's a few games being, there's games being played. Guys are working out. Injuries are we're trying to limit the injuries. Wyatt Langford, they've said, is already swinging a bat. He should be back soon. But then we all heard something that made all Rangers fans start hoping that hopefully the curse does not follow to Arlington and curse them. That Adolis Garcia had an oblique injury, they said after an MRI that it's less severe than Langford's, that he should be ready for opening day. However, they also said that DeGrom had arm discomfort and needed Tommy John. So I don't really trust the Rangers when it comes to injury news, because it felt like all last year, every time there was an injury, they'd say, oh, it's not that bad, and he's out for 6 months. It felt that way, right? Where they were just not lying, but they were underselling maybe the severity, or their training staff sucks and they didn't know the severity of the injury. So none of them are good. But hopefully that stops this year. I'd like to be able to trust my team for injuries. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's nothing serious. But I think a lot of buzz from Rangers fans has come about from, and no one else can claim him. He's mine. I claimed him when he was at low A, and I was reading about him, and I went, "This is going to be my new guy,
our new closer."
He's got it. He understands it now. He's got it. He understands. He knows how to do this thing, and that is Emiliano Teodo. And you ask my dad, I've been on him for about 3 years now, or however long he's been appearing in our top 30. I just reading about it. I was hoping he'd go to Frisco for just one game. I want to see him for 1 year. I want to see him in person once, so that way I can say I saw him, and that way I can claim, because Leclerc I saw and said he was going to be good, but Teodo I've watched him at starts, so it's the same thing. I watched 3 or 4 of his starts last year, because I'm I see it. This guy has got special stuff as a pitcher.
Yeah.
And especially now he has that sinker, that two-seamer that is 100, that's just moving like crazy. The problem is he's not a big control guy, so he's probably going to end up being a relief pitcher. Hey, we need one of those. I don't like the hot take that he's going to lead our team in saves this year.
That, yeah.
That's stupid. There's a chance, though, I'm going to say he gets at least one save opportunity this season. That feels a lot more realistic. He's going to get at least one save opportunity, because he's got the stuff to be a closer, to be a lights-out closer. And it will, protect his arm, too, because it's not as taxing to pitch, to
hopefully only
4 batters.
15, 20 pitches, yeah.
So hoping if he's as efficient as he was against, was it Cincinnati?
Yeah.
If he's as efficient, just strikeout, good night. That's what you want. But right now, there really isn't. But thankfully, knock on the desk here, there has not been any other injuries. DeGrom is healthy. Evaldi's healthy. Seager's healthy. I feel like I have to keep it a secret, because the baseball gods, the little gremlins that like to spread injuries around, I'm hoping they don't hear me.
Yeah, this is a Rangers team that you really hope can stay healthy, because they do have a lot of injury. They have a lot of on the team.
When you have more veteran guys, that's typically what's going to happen. But Peterson and Berger have been killing the ball.
Yeah,
I mean this offense has the chance to be better than the 23 offense.
That's what Bochy said.
Well, I know he said that, but he didn't need to say that.
No.
To me, that is kind of obvious when you look at, okay.
No, I agree with you. Totally agree.
Because it's hard to remember that Carter was not on the team for 23 for the most of the year. So when you got to the playoffs, right, he was your left fielder. The difference is that now you've pretty much swapped Jock Peterson for Mitch Garver, which that feels pretty equivalent. I think Peterson might be a better hitter, maybe. He gets on base more than Garver does, right? Garver's more just if he doesn't hit an extra base hit, it's probably not very good.
Yeah.
And then you swap out Berger for Lowe, right? But then you move Carter to center to take over for Tavares, and you have Langford. So to me, you've upgraded offensively over Lowe, over Garver, and over Tavares, which were the only 3 guys that weren't slugging a bunch. Well, okay, Garver was, but the only 2 guys that really weren't big sluggers on that 23 team. Even then, Carter's not really a slugger. But what are you reading?
Nothing. I got a Bleacher Report notification, and it was Padres at Rangers and Rangers at Dodgers are both live. They playing 2 games?
Yeah, you have a squad, B squad.
Okay.
I'm surprised you haven't seen that before. They do it every year.
Yeah, I just never paid attention to it really. I don't really pay attention to spring training.
Well, it's fun when you get notifications from both games and you're trying to follow.
Yeah, I was trying to
both
figure
games.
out. Wait a
Like,
minute, we lost and we won. What happened?
Yeah. It's like time out now. Wait, we won twice. Maybe that can happen in the regular season, but no. There just isn't much happening. We will have our preseason predictions for baseball the week of opening day. We're gonna probably do an episode that Tuesday. As long as Chase is not gonna miss that, he's nodding his head. So that way we can get an episode in because I will not be here for opening day because I'll be at my dad's. So as we move forward, we're only what 3 weeks away. Like the 20. Yeah, like 3 weeks away. So hopefully, we'll see. I'm very excited for this season. I think this Rangers team is significantly better than last year's team, and I think last year's team. I think what masked a lot of the issues last year going into last season was, hey guys, we just won a championship, right? And we were still riding high off that. And then in looking back, I can say that comfortably because at the time, we were all thinking, hey, we could go back to back. We're set up really well. And looking back, you're like, no, you're not. No, you weren't. You really were not set up that well. But, it's okay. I think we're set up a lot better this season. As long as the pitching can hold. Oh, stop if you've heard that before.
Yeah.
We will see. But that is it for Rangers baseball. When's the Korea series? Is it Korea? They're doing a series? The Dodgers?
Is it the Seoul series, right? Or
Yeah.
that happened last year?
No, that was the Japan series, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
That was in Tokyo, I think. Well,
whatever.
I think they're playing 2 regular season games at some point. So, which I always found to be very interesting for every team that's involved. Especially when you get to opening day and you're like, hey, the Dodgers guy just hit his 3rd home run. How the hell did he do that? But now we move to football, and we're going to go with the Cowboys first. Made a lot of moves. We'll start with the re-signings. So you re-signed TJ Goodwin. Apparently, people don't think special teams matters. It does. You re-signed. There was one.
Wanye
Thomas. Brock Hoffman. They placed the 2nd-round tender on Keontae Turpin,
which would please other teams, please.
Which is only $5 million.
Right.
So it's like you either get.
So if another team signs him, we get a 2nd-round pick.
No, if another team signs him and we don't want to match that offer, we get a 2nd-round pick.
Okay.
So, so here's the thing about Turpin. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
If he signs the tender, guess what? You only pay an all-pro player for your team $5 million.
Yeah.
Who can make an impact in every game because of his returnability and the fact that I'm hoping Shoddy actually uses him on offense, right?
He had more offensive work at the end of the year last year.
Yeah, because McCarthy, I think, realized, I need to do this. And then but then if it's kind of like it was like restricted. It's like restricted free agency for basketball. It's like an offer sheet.
Yeah.
So if another team tries to sign them, we can match the offer, or we can get the 2nd-round pick. So it's win-win. You either get your player back or you get a 2nd-round pick.
If I ask you right now, what would you prefer? I think it's pretty obvious, but
well, obviously a draft pick would be better for how the Cowboys build, but Turpin is very valuable.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love Turpin.
I'm not mad if he resigns,
but a 2nd-round pick, dude. I mean, it's
one of those. It's cool if it happens, but I'm hoping Turpin returns. I don't want to try to find a new return guy.
Yeah,
because Turpin's very good at what he does. Then, is there anybody else besides the big one that re-signed? Brock Hoffman. I think I mentioned him already.
Right, I think I saw someone.
But then you've got
whatever
the main player that everyone was. Jordan Lewis is still a free agent. Dante Fowler is still a free agent. Still a few guys that are free agents that you're going to want to, maybe negotiate with. But the biggest fish you had on the market,
something that had to be done. You
did not let it to the market. They were going to tag him to get extra time. It turns out Osa actually had a conversation with Micah, so maybe. Micah should be our GM. But, hey, player GM, I'm for it.
Maybe you should go to the Mavs.
Yeah. Osa, 4 years, $80 million.
Beautiful.
Now, people are going to say, wow, $20 million for a defensive tackle.
I saw a lot of comments saying overpay.
That's
but also,
a lot.
Yeah.
let me paint a little scenario for you people that don't understand that that's a great contract. First of all, that's like the 13th, 12th highest paid defensive tackle in the market. That's about where he probably is in terms of talent. So he got about what the market says he should have got. So he didn't, but he could have gotten an overmarket deal because he's a 3 technique that is very good at rushing the passer. I think he led all defensive tackles in quarterback pressures last year. He is a great pass rusher.
Yeah.
And he's gotten better against the run every year. You needed him back. If you did not have him back, you only have one guy that's starting for your defensive tackle spot, and people don't like him. So at that point, you are really stuck at defensive tackle, and you might have to pick one in the first round.
Yeah.
That's how desperate that need gets for you.
Yeah.
And now that's 2 defensive tackles in 3 years, and people are going to lose their minds.
Yeah. And then with a high chance of it being Michigan as well.
They wouldn't go Grant. Oh, well, okay. Graham is a different story.
Well, no. The Graham's not going to be there. Grant was what I was referring to.
But you need to re-sign Osa.
For sure.
And even though people are like, oh my God, so much money to tie up, don't think of it as the money you're tying up. Think of it as you have to pay this to get this player back on your team, and you need this player back on your team.
And hopefully, Mozzie, this is like, as I said last episode, I'll give him one more year. So hopefully he can.
3 years. You get 3 years in the league.
So hopefully this is the year where he can show some signs of improvement.
With his third defensive coordinator
Or
and third
else,
defensive line coach.
Bye-bye.
Or you're ready to move on.
Yeah.
Although he'll get a 4th year.
Yeah.
And I don't call guys busts or hits really until after 3 years. Because you want to give him time to develop. But even then, defensive tackles are weird. If he comes alive after his 4th year, it's not a bust anymore, right? It's one of those, now we can label him as a bad pick with the chance that maybe he gets better, but probably not. But we do have a fun mock draft. This one will go a little bit quicker this time because I don't have to explain every player.
Well, real quickly, I want to go over, the restructures of Dak and CD.
Thank you. I knew I was missing something.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean, there's a lot of people are saying, it's just money to free up to pay Micah, which, yes.
Saying huge. You sound like a politician.
Huge.
Yeah. Huge. It's like the one thing I can say in that particular accent.
But no, I mean, yes, they're right. It is to make money for Micah, yes. But it's not going to be all of it. They freed up, $56 million?
Okay, so yeah, you freed about 55.
Micah's going to get, 4 for...
And I don't think people understand this. Do you realize what happens if they extend Micah? You know that frees up like $10, $12 million, right?
Yeah.
If you do the contract correctly, like an intelligent front office, Micah doing that extension lowers his cap hit because you can, I think, make it more bonus-based this season.
Yeah.
I'm starting to believe in the fact that void years don't really exist in how you can work contracts. And I'm going to probably try to do some research on how the contracts and void years and all that work. But it sounds like that you can just continue to rework contracts, and unless you do like a Deshaun Watson type deal where it's all guaranteed, basically what it is, okay, make sure you get your guaranteed money early, and that way when you get to the end, like Diggs, they front-loaded his guaranteed money. So now if they wanted to cut him, they can. And it won't be catastrophic.
I think they should just kind of explore if they can trade him first. I mean, that'd be great if they can trade him.
We'll see. But re-signing Micah frees up even more money for you to sign new players.
But that's the thing that sucks is that we'll have this money and Jerry won't use it. And that's what sucks.
He'll use some of it. He'll use some of it.
Because we can talk about in the NFL news, the release of Devontae Adams and the request of a trade from DK Metcalf.
And the release of Joey Bosa.
And which I could see the Cowboys entertaining, but
Bosa fits what I don't think if I said this, if I didn't, okay, hold on, Brady, slow down. if I did not say this last week, I need to say it this week. The Cowboys target usually 2 kinds of free agents. The first kind of free agent that they like to target are guys that their coaches have familiarity with. The second type of guy are guys they liked in the draft.
Yeah.
They really liked Joey Bosa in the draft. They were big. I remember they were big. That was 2016, and they were huge fans of Joey Bosa. So Bosa makes a lot of sense for them to be a rotational defensive end.
But if they really wanted to get people on their toes and have all the optimism in the world coming into the year, they would go for a guy like Metcalf or a guy like Devontae Adams.
I've heard a really fun rumor about Metcalf, or an idea, and it's trade them year 3.
Okay.
and then you swap ones. look at the mock and see where they are.
Sure.
Swap ones and a 3 for Metcalf. And
we go down 6 picks.
I'm in on that.
Sure.
You're not going to get a receiver because DK Metcalf with a 3rd.
Yeah.
If you're willing, a 3rd and a pick swap, whew. And there's your trade down. That'd be a great trade down.
Yeah, 100%.
Where you basically, you don't trade down and acquire an extra pick. You trade down and acquire a player for that pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And it's DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Seattle can move up ahead of some of the teams in front of them that may go receiver and take one of the top guys on the board, because I don't know how many guys are going to be there. But
yeah,
I'd be a big fan of that idea. Then again, I'm a big fan of any trade down, you know me. But I really like what the Cowboys have flexibility to do. Will they do it?
I just want them to pay Micah now.
Do you know who I want them to pay right now? Go ahead and pay Bland and Tyler Smith. Don't let them get another year of production. Then you got to really pay them. Pay them now, even if it's in the summer. Pay them now, so you don't have to worry about them next offseason. You can pay them now. Please pay them now. It would be very good if you paid them now, because they will not get top of the market deals right now. But if Bland goes out there, has a fully healthy season, is great. And if Tyler's has a great fully healthy season and is great, which I think with this coaching staff, he is going to be amazing, lock him in now. So that way next offseason you can go, wow, look at that contract of Tyler Smith. That looks great now. You signed him to 40 years and whatever, and it's, he could have gotten, whatever half of that number is, add that on top of what he got. That's what he would have gotten.
Yeah. Well, so real quickly before we go to our mock draft, what do you think Micah's contract is going to look like? 4 for 160? Or is that, I mean, I know he said he wants to take a little less, but I mean, look, we freed up space and they have the money. I think they might do that. 4 for 160?
He's so young, right? He's not that old. I could really see them wanting to do this. I could see them wanting to do 5 150.
Okay.
But I don't know what he's going to want.
Yeah.
Because if he could command probably up to $40 million a year.
Which is my contract I have for him. Yeah.
But if he's willing to take, I hate to say willing, if he takes 30 a year, 25 a year, even 25 a year, if they're like, hey, Micah, we'll give you an extra year, I would do this. 5 125, all guaranteed.
Sure.
I would do that, even though I just said about guaranteed money, and it's usually not a good idea.
But that's
5 125.
Yeah.
He is making a huge concession. All guaranteed.
Yeah.
100% guaranteed. You get all 125 of that. And then I'll even throw in some bonuses. I'll even throw up every year you get $1 million if you play if you play 16 out of 17 games.
Or like a sack number, like a 12 sacks. Or
you get $500K for a game, games played bonus, and $500K for a sack bonus every year. So they go up to 130.
Yeah.
That would be, I think, very ideal for the Cowboys to make it fully guaranteed, but a lot less, but significantly less money. I think that still gives you flexibility, but we'll see what they do. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm hoping that it's done before free agency.
Yeah.
But now we move, as promised, the post-combine mock 2.0. We like to do one before, right after the Super Bowl, do one right after the combine, and then we like to do one in a couple weeks, and then one the week of the draft.
Yep.
Which I'm pleased to announce after having conversations with people at UNT, we will have a draft show from a little bit different studio this time, so the mics won't be in our way. We won't have a rinky-dinky computer screen that's cutting in and out with our drafts, with the draft coverage from NFL Network. We will have an actual good setup. And
where are we doing it?
Over in Chilton Hall.
Okay.
And I'm pleased to announce that as long as we stay in that studio, it doesn't get flooded this time, like it did last year, we will be able to take callers. So people will be able to call in. And the only reason I would love to do our podcast over there, it's just a lot more difficult to get to than this building is. So we just do it here. But we will be able to take callers.
That's
It'd be
great.
Really cool.
That's great.
So Chase, I'm going to let you kick it off with our mock 2.0.
All right. No changes here for me. Tennessee, number 1 pick. Nice. You smacked your phone.
You know what? Yeah.
Listen, that sound might be, the future of the Titans. But give me
Thud.
Cam Ward, number 1.
My pick has not changed. And I'm not going to go through and be like, oh, last time I picked this guy. This time I'm picking this guy. Because that just, hey, Marcus Simeon homered.
And new NFL news, the Bengals have taken the rare step of granting All-Pro DN Trey Hendrickson permission to seek a trade.
Look at that. But
wow, that could be a big deal.
I've still got Travis Hunter 1. So 2, Cleveland, Chase.
Dual Carter. Same thing for me.
I'm there with you, yeah.
My top 6 are the same.
Number 3,
Travis Hunter.
Cam Ward. All right, on the even numbers, I'll go first. I'll let you go first on the odds.
Go ahead.
Hopefully we won't mess that. By pick 20, we'll be like, who goes first on this one? Pick 4, I think the Patriots need to go offensive line. I think Josh McDaniels likes a guy that is flexible between tackle and guard. And of the first-round caliber offensive lineman, that would be Kelvin Banks.
Hey, I like that you bumped Banks all the way up to 4.
No, he's not that on my board, but he is that in the draft.
For your mock, I like that. But I still have them going, everyone's talking about what they need, what can make Drake May the most successful quarterback they can be, or he can be. I've been going Ted McMillan.
At 5, I've got a draft riser. Now, I watched some of this guy last night, but I wasn't able to do a report on him because, to be honest, I got really, really tired and decided to move it to today. He's freakish athletic ability. 33.5-inch arms. He's not as tall as you'd like your tackle to be, but he's got a great weight. He ran a great 40. He fits what Trent Baalke... Wait, no, Baalke's not there anymore. They fired Baalke.
Also.
But they got a new GM who's young, he's like a millennial. I think he's almost Gen Z. He's young. They need a guy that I think he's going to like super athletic guys. And I have a riser on the offensive line. And I have them going Armand Mimbu, which is a really high pick. But right now, because of what he did at the Combine, I could see him going that high. So we'll see how the process shakes out for him.
He's a riser for me too, but I still have them going Mason Graham. I think it's a fit that Jacksonville just...
Mason Graham...
You look at their team, and there's a big hole somewhere, and you see it, and it's right in the middle of their of the defensive line, and Mason Graham fits that perfectly.
The one reason I don't see them going Graham is they've already invested in Walker and Josh Hines-Allen. And so do you want to invest another defensive line pick?
Yeah, very well might be.
But you're going to hate where I have Graham going because you're going to hate it.
I think I know.
6, I got the Raiders. I can't do it. It doesn't work for this camera, but you got the Raiders. Shedeur Sanders. I will not rip Shedeur apart this episode, but I will rip him apart on the draft show. So,
I'm with you too, Shedeur.
It's the
yeah. So for
the system's already breaking down at pick 7.
The Jets is just really interesting now that Devontae wants out, or that Devontae is out. They released him, not wants out.
And yes, I would be in on Devontae.
Yeah, 100%.
He's better than what you got.
And he's still good. He was still great last season.
He's better than what you have, which is important.
But I just looked at the Jets and I'm like, I don't know what they need. So I just went with a guy that can just bring a lot of energy and a lot of potential, and that's Tyler Warren. They need a tight end.
I went with a guy that I'm thinking, okay, who would Aaron Glenn get in the draft room? Who is Aaron Glenn going to go? I want this guy. Well, Aaron Glenn played corner. And there is a very feisty corner named Will Johnson. I'm messing with Chase because he's still on the hook 'em horns, and I wanted to try to
And this is a guy that you remember that you said last mock that you had him a little lower, and now he is rising.
Because he fits what the Jets like. He fits what Aaron Glenn is probably going to want in his corners. If he liked Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw, who they picked up last year for Detroit, he's going to like Jahdae Barron.
Yep.
I am not as particularly high on Barron, but I think it's also maybe the Texas scheme didn't fit what he does well. That's very possible. I do think it's good. I mean, I have a first. Okay, it's hard to say I don't like it. I got a first round grade on the guy. It's not like I put him in the 4th round, right? Instead, he's awful. Yeah. But I'm not as high as some people are. I like the makeup of what he has. I just think maybe the scheme at Texas wasn't as productive for him as it could have been. I think Aaron Glenn will run something that fits what he likes better. More physical, less playing off than what Texas did.
Yeah.
And where you did yours. Panthers, they need edge help desperately, and I'm still going with the guy that I like. This is probably the only pick of my draft that I'm making because I like it rather than maybe them. That's Mike Green out of Marshall. So,
I love Mike Green, but I have him going Jahdae Barron.
Okay, well, there you go. 9, Chase.
Keeping him in the state of Louisiana, Will Campbell.
And I
to the Saints.
Actually, Campbell kind of fell for me.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Thinking about it.
They really don't have a tight end right now. It's Taysom Hill, and I love Taysom Hill, but he's not a starting tight end anymore, maybe, and so they got to go with Tyler Warren.
Yeah. Warren was who I had last mock to the Saints, and he'll probably end up back there too.
And then at 10, the Chicago Bears break everybody's heart in the DFW area when they go Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. I think Ben Johnson wants his running back.
Yep, I have them going Jeanty as well. They just traded for Joe Thuney. I mean, it seems like they're doing everything they can to not draft a lineman with their first pick because they obviously need one. So they're going to go with the generational talent in Jeanty. Ben Johnson wants it.
At 11. Now, if Jeanty gets drafted, this will actually be something interesting because there's 3 players on the board that I have top of the first round grades on coming into the Jeanty pick. Okay? And the Cowboys are the 3rd team in that. So I'm like, we're going to get one of these 3 guys. Those 3 guys, if you don't know who I'm talking about, are Ashton Jeanty, Mason Graham, and Tet McMillan are all 3 on the board. And so if we get past the Saints and those 3 are on the board, I'm doing cartwheels in our draft room because that means we're going to get one of those players.
Until they draft Shamar Stewart.
And so, Walter Nolan. And so, you have number 11, but I'm kind of letting people know like that's how my board has fallen. So who do you have for 11?
Niners, seems like a very Niner pick. Josh Simmons.
Niners need defensive tackle help. Ken Law's going to be gone. Mason Graham. Which means that at pick 12, the Cowboys, this should be, I don't care what the NFL says, take 10 seconds. Jerry goes, McMillan, right? McMillan, yep, right at him. Turn it in. Tap McMillan out of Arizona.
I'd be ecstatic with that.
Boy, he'd be so much fun.
That'd be great. I have the Cowboys, a guy that's rising in my draft too, Armand Membu. I think it would be awesome.
You're not going Hampton?
No.
Has that train sailed for you?
Yeah, they said today they're not likely to take one of them.
Could you imagine if they don't take a running back in the first 3 rounds?
Yeah,
I think Cowboys fans might revolt.
Yeah, but Membo, like you said, unbelievable combine. He's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, he does,
and
he's a guy I could see that
Cowboys and O lineman. Listen, I mean. It could work.
I think Membu's rise is similar to Latham's, where it's just they're both kind of in that mix for who's the top tackle, but they're kind of on the lower spectrum. And then as the draft goes on, they just keep rising and rising. At 13, Chase.
Listen, pick hasn't changed for me. It might not change the whole time, but Malachi Starks to the Dolphins.
If they keep Javon Holland, I'm going to take Will Johnson. They need to get younger at corner. 14. This is where my draft gets a little weird. This draft may be the weirdest mock I have ever done. There are a lot of players that I'm like, okay, this is not a player I could see going here, but it's really fun, so I'm going to take him. But I could see the team doing it. And I have Tyler Booker. They have a need at guard. You want to protect Richardson. You need to get your offense going somehow, and I think taking Tyler Booker fits.
I have them going Mike Green.
That'd be fun. 15. Falcons, Chase.
Will Johnson.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot. You look at the Falcons and there isn't a lot of needs. Because obviously the players where they need, improvement are the young players who they're not moving on from. And obviously there's not a lot of help on offense that they need, maybe another receiver. But defensively, they got AJ Terrell and they got Jesse Bates. But then there's that, there's the second corner you don't really, can't really picture. And I think Will Johnson just fits that scheme.
Yeah. I have Jalen Walker. They need linebacker help and they need edge rusher help, and I think this guy can fit both. Even though I don't like him off the ball, I think he's an outside linebacker in their scheme, but that's my opinion. And then at 16, I have Will Campbell falling. So now they're going to have 2 first-round tackles to protect Kyler Murray, and I really like that.
There's a report about Kyler Murray being a potential target for the Giants.
Yeah, well, protect whoever's playing back there.
Then, but no, I like the pick. I have them going James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee.
You're going to laugh. I don't have him in the first.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. There's a lot
he's
of
athletic,
off-the-field issues.
but he there was a moment at the combine that I don't know if anyone else noticed, but I did, when he messed up once. He did the Steelers D-line coach was the guy that had the whistle, right? Put your arm back, he would just go. And I was like, hey, hey James, 3 paces, wait, and go. Okay. Pierce does, and then he kind of looks a little annoyed, but he goes over, yes sir, does it again, and he does the same thing, messes up, gets whistled. And his body language was annoyed that he was getting whistled for messing up. And something about that just did not sit right with me.
Yeah.
And it's been one of those things that I remember. If he does not work out in the NFL, it's one of those things that I'm like, I saw that and I just went, I don't like that.
I can see it happening.
At 17, Chase, and we now know Hendrickson maybe is probably gonna be gone.
Yeah. So I mean, I made this pick before, but it still kind of works. I have them going Kenneth Grant.
I have Emeka Egbuka. The receivers are pretty much all on the board.
Well, now listen, they tagged. I had them going, I think, Egbuka or Burden in my last mock, but now that they tagged T, again, I just don't think they go receiver in the first round with 2 All-Pro receivers.
Yeah, but okay, now that Hendrickson is probably gone. Yeah, I would probably change it, but I still like my pick.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
At 18, Seahawks, Luther Burden. They just released Lockett, who I'll also be in on. They're probably going to trade DK Metcalf, so they need receiver. Very clear need now.
Yep, I have them going Luther Burden as well.
And then here's the run on. Actually, all 3 of those receivers, that kind of bunch, they go 1, 2, 3 here. I know you're supposed to go first, but I have Matthew Golden at 19 of the Buccaneers.
I have 3 out of the next 4 picks being those 3 receivers. I have Jahad Campbell going to the Buccaneers.
We are in the same ballpark, but the wrong section.
Yeah.
I've got Campbell at 20 to the Broncos.
Yeah.
And then
Broncos for me, Matthew Golden.
Okay, so yeah, we're those 4 picks are the same players for us, just a slightly different order.
Just a little different.
Then you've got 21 Steelers. I went a little off the board here with this one. I went Marion Hampton. They need offensive help. The receiver board literally just went 1, 2, 3 in front of them. They're stuck in a bad position where there's not a receiver worth 21 overall, but there is a running back worth 21 overall. So I've got a Marion Hampton.
Yeah. I have Emeka Egbuka. I still had a receiver on the board for them, so Egbuka kind of fits what they need.
Oh, crap. You were supposed to go first on that one.
I'll go first here then. It's fine.
I told you the system broke down there.
Chargers, just lost Bosa. I think going Michael Williams.
I have, again, same ballpark, wrong section, Donovan Izaraku from Boston College. 23, Green Bay. They need corner, Benjamin Morrison. I like the way he plays. I think he's very competitive, good ball skills. You got to watch the hip injury, right? That's going to be something you're going to have to monitor, but hopefully it doesn't affect him.
Yeah, I was debating between 2 guys here. Actually, a corner. I wasn't even debating Morrison. I was debating Revel. But I decided to go with Kelvin Banks here. And I know he falls for me compared to yours.
Wow.
I think they moved Tom inside because they do need guard help. Tom is a big body. I think he could play guard. Have Banks to the outside.
Could also move Banks inside.
Yeah, Banks could be inside too.
Banks could play inside. 24. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I think all 4 of my mocks is going to be the same pick every time, and it's Kenny Grant to the Minnesota Vikings. It fits what Flores likes. They need a good nose. And I think it just makes too much sense.
I got Walter Nolan.
Whew, that'd be fun. That'd be really fun, actually. And then at 25, I actually have he's going to be my top player on the board for probably the entire draft, it's going to feel like, because of the knee injury. And apparently it sounds like it was a patella injury for Josh Simmons. But I've got Simmons at 25. I think the Texans just can't pass up the value.
Yeah. For me, I went with a little bit of a shock pick here for the Texans. I think that, Diggs might be gone here soon. Dell's not going to be back all of next year. Who knows if he'll be back at all, with that terrible injury. I have them going. It might be a little bit of a reach here. Alec Io Minor or Io Manor, whatever his name, however you say his name.
I think it's A Manor.
Io Manor.
I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
I have them. It might be a little bit of a reach, but he's the best receiver left on the board.
I was gonna say I could be wrong, but I doubt it. We're very funny. At 26, Rams, Jack Besh from TCU. I think he's very similar to Puka and Cup. I think that McVay's going to like him, and again, it makes a lot of sense.
I have Gray Zabel here.
27, Ravens. I could see them wanting to get younger on the defensive line. They've got some aging guys there, so I had Darius Alexander from Toledo.
I like that.
He's definitely rising, and he definitely fits that Baltimore style of defense.
I have them going Shamar Stewart.
Okay, well, same position group-ish. 28, Lions. I really think I got a small run on Bulldogs here, back-to-back picks, but I think Williams goes to the Lions. I think that, they need edge help, and I think when you get him with Dan Campbell and hopefully that new defensive coaching staff, hopefully they can teach him how to play defensive line because he doesn't really know what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I have been going Jalen Walker. Lions with Walker.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then I got Malachi Starks at 29 to the Commanders. I think that Dan Quinn would love to help out his young quarterback. The only problem is that there's a player that's really, really good that's worth that pick, definitely.
Yeah.
And fits what Quinn likes in his safeties. And also, they need a safety, so Starks.
Siobhan Revel for me.
You get 30?
Derek Harmon out of Oregon for the Bills.
I got Siobhan Revel. I think they need corner help. I think his play style, they like more physical corners. He's not as big as Buffalo usually likes their corners, but I think that he fits. Again, the word fits is going to be used for probably all 32 picks. You're going to hear me say that about 100 times on the draft show and the coming podcast days because it does. I mean, he definitely is the mold for play style. He's the mold for Buffalo corners. He's just not the size, but I think they'll like him. You already went yours, right?
Yeah, go ahead, 31.
No, I'll give you 31.
Well, I got back-to-back Oregon guys here. I got Josh Connerly Jr. here for the Chiefs.
I went really off the board with this pick. But I'm thinking, and this is probably the only time I'm going to mock this guy to the Chiefs, and I'm going to see if Chase can figure this out. They potentially, and they're going to have needs on the offensive line. That's probably where they're going to go. But right now,
Tooney's going to.
I could see them going, man, Kelsey has maybe one more year left in him. There are some really good tight ends in this draft. It's not a deep class, but there's 3 or 4 pretty good ones at the top. I don't think they're going to really like Loveland. I don't think that he's more of a, I think he's more, I don't say he's more of a blocker, but Michigan tight ends are usually more blocking tight ends. Schoonmaker. I have them going.
I know who it is.
From the MAC, Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green.
He's great.
I mean, you want to talk about Andy Reid wanting to get really interesting in this first round pick? I could see it. I'm just saying. Yeah. And at 32, Philly, Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. They need to get younger at tackle. Lane Johnson's getting old. Mailata is actually not that young either. So they need to get younger. He has some position flexibility, as most North Dakota State offensive linemen do. They play all 5 positions. I think Zabel could.
Yeah.
And then that's a great pick.
I had the 2 players to Philly, but I decided to go with one just so Philly didn't get him. It was between Donovan Izaruku, right? Is that how you say it?
I think it's Ezeraku.
Ezeraku.
I think.
Or Marion Hampton. And I think they're going to go Hampton, but I just didn't want to.
So you
are
agreeing with my philosophy from last mock that they may want to pair someone with Barkley.
Yeah, but I had them going Donovan.
Well, that has been our mock draft 2.0. 3.0 will be probably the start of April.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we if we have an episode next week, I'll send it out. If we don't, you'll hear from us in 2 weeks.
Have a good spring break.
Yep.